I was just wondering about your experience here so far coming from Jacksonville and um, just you've been working nickel, linebacker, did some safety today. Just talk about that adventure also.
It's been great. The transition's been great. My teammates has helped me a lot. The transition, and it's just been a great time, a great switch.
Did you think you'd be playing all these different positions when you got here?
I'm used to kind of moving around a little bit, so wherever I can help the team out, that's where I'm best at.
You think you opened some eyes with your testing numbers? I mean, I saw 40.8 inch vert, 10.9 broad jump. Do you think you surprised a lot of people?
And I definitely do. I knew what I could do. I'm just glad to prove it and show everyone else.
Yeah, that's the same question for you. What's it been like playing a lot of center and then in this camp some guard too, you know?
It's been great. I played, obviously back at Tennessee, I played guard and center. But being able to really focus down on one position and kind of hone in specifically on that, it's been great. But obviously, you got to do what you got to do for the team. And being able to go back and forth and be able to do that has been a good opportunity for me to obviously learn left guard again and help the team as much as possible. But overall, it's been fantastic being able to be under Coach Mateos and Coach Pittman, two of the greats. Obviously, Coach Pittman being a legendary offensive line coach, and Coach Mateos making a huge name for himself, and will go down as one of the greats in my opinion. It's been something that's been unbelievable for me. Never thought I'd be able to be in this situation with them, and extremely blessed and thankful for the knowledge that I'm able to get from them at all the positions and aspects.
If you guys could both address this, Coach Pittman was in here with us yesterday and said like the grind will continue through Monday, but it looks like maybe they backed off a little bit today. How has camp been in terms of being a grind and tough? And then was today maybe a little bit of relief?
I wouldn't say more of a relief. It's more of some days are more physical, some days are more mental, but the grind is always on every single day. So it may be more of a mental grind some days, more of a physical grind some days, but it's always 100% on.
Exactly what Larry said. We're never taking the grind off. It's just some days we're focusing on technique, and then other days we're focusing on mental toughness and physical toughness. And today was one of those days where we take a load off of our body after a big day like yesterday, and allow our bodies to rejuvenate and heal a little bit more, but allowing our minds to be crisper and working on technique and being quicker and things like that.
Addison, just what have you seen? We've seen a Marion work was kind of the left guard a lot this week at camp. What have you seen from him and his development, just kind of working right next to him when you're at center?
He's had a fantastic camp. He's truly been unbelievable. He has really bought in, had great effort, great execution, and he's someone that you trust playing next to. And a big thing for me is, all these teams and all these players are talking about depth and how, oh, we're lacking this, lacking that. That's something that I don't feel like we have a problem with here. I feel like we have a room of guys that all want to win, all want to play, and are all bought in and all can play at a very high level. And E is a great example of that, being able to fill a position that needed to be filled and didn't ask any questions, didn't bat an eye, just came in and filled it beyond expectations. And extremely proud of him and what everyone's done so far this camp.
And Larry, you've been working a different position. So has Danico, Anthony too. Just can you tell? Is there anything different about this defense with how many versatile guys you have, maybe compared to what you're doing at Jacksonville State, or just what you've seen throughout your college football career?
One thing I'll definitely say is like the whole secondary, it's not like anybody just locked in or only could play one position. Everybody's pretty versatile. So wherever we need help at or like any rotation that needs to be done, we all could get that job done.
Yeah, Edison, you've worked your left guard yourself, so Sandy Marion over there. Well, what is it technically, or what do you like about his game over there?
I would just say he does a great job with fits when we're working, singles and A's and different blocks like that. He is quick off the ball, gets a good fit, chases the crease, and allows me to either get off or take over a block. He just plays fast and plays hard, and he's someone that I don't have to think about. Will he know what to do? Will I have to be slower off of this block to kind of make up for something he's lacking? I don't feel any of that whatsoever. I trust him and know that he's going to play ball every time I get down and snap that ball. So that's something that you got to have with everyone, and he does a great job coming and just doing a great job with everything he does and allows me to play fast and play hard.
You talked about the depth in the room. Eric was in here the other day saying, he's not afraid. Obviously, you got 5 starters, but he's not afraid to play, other guys if they've earned it. How do you feel about that as a starter? And a lot of new guys like yourself in that room. How do you just feel like the cohesion is going along?
Well, the cohesion itself, the team, or at least the offensive line chemistry in the room is something that I'd never been a part of before. I haven't been a part of a group this tight and this close ever in really any sport that I've ever played. I think that we have one of the best, chemistry rooms in the country. We all get along. We all do everything together, and that really helps when we're playing ball, and it helps with the depth as well because we trust each other. And like I said, I don't think we have a problem with depth at all. Everyone wants to play. Everyone is bought in, and everyone trusts each other. And yeah, I can't say anything bad about, our chemistry at all. We really just love each other, and it's great to be a part of that. And back to your question with the what do I feel about the depth problem or the depth question is, it's great for us. The defensive line gets to sub and change in a game, and they get to come in fresh. If we have the opportunity to be able to get some fresh guys in as well, and they've earned that opportunity to play, why not? It's better for us. It gives us time to, get a breather, and it gives other guys an opportunity to go out and play ball. I feel like some schools don't really give people that opportunity. Once you're a 2, you don't really get to play at all. You just practice, practice, practice. You maybe get in late in the fourth quarter, but being able to give guys a chance to go out there and play ball, some guys are practice guys, some guys are game guys. So they could go out there and have a fantastic game, and you'd really never know unless you gave them a shot to go out there. So there's a lot of benefit and opportunity for us being able to rotate guys and have depth, which we do have.
Larry, what position did you play in high school? What were you recruited out at Jacksonville State, and what all did you do at Jacksonville State? Kind of what's your position evolution there?
So I originally started out, I played receiver coming out of high school, but I ended up going as a walk-on at Jacksonville State at nickel. And then I kind of transitioned and started playing on some safety a little bit. And then that's when they could kind of just see my versatility. So ever since then, I just kind of been versatile, hybrid, kind of a little bit of everything.
Does one position feel more natural to you than others, or does it you don't mind the versatility?
I don't mind the versatility at all. Thank you for the question. Wherever I'm best fit at, wherever I can help my team at, that's where I feel best at.
So you were kind of a late bloomer, I guess. What do you think was the reason that you went the walk-on path at Jacksonville State?
The reason that I walked on at Jacksonville State, I sustained an injury my senior year of high school. So it kind of was like a late bloomer in that process, kind of fell late in that recruiting process. So kind of got overlooked a little bit. But Jacksonville State came in late, and then I just kind of took that grind path that we were just talking about earlier and just showed what I could do.
Have you worked at safety aside from today at Arkansas?
Yes, sir, I have.
That was just our first time to see you there. What position were you lined up at when you had the interception yesterday, and what developed on that play?
I was at boundary safety, and it's just something we kind of been harping on and just looking at, just reading the RPO and kind of just making a play from there.
You remember like who threw it and who you were defending?
It was Malachi, and that's who threw the interception.
Trey just snagged my question. I was going to ask you about the pick, but what about overall getting 8 yesterday? That's a pretty big number. What do you think? How the defense played?
I think we started out great. We played great. It's just something we've been harping on, because the first scrimmage I feel like we kind of started a little bit slow. So that's something you can't go into games, these big time games starting out slow. You got to come out the gate swinging. And so that's something we kind of really harped on. And turnovers, that's how you win games.
Yeah, Addison, Sam told us yesterday the D-line had a big day. Landon certainly did. Just what did you see from your vantage point on maybe lessons to pick up from that?
Yeah, things just kind of flipped from the first scrimmage. The first scrimmage we came out fast and hit them in the mouth hard really quick, and it kind of flipped yesterday. The defensive came out really fast and really aggressive, and we kind of came back in the back end. So it was great for us to feel that, because I feel like we've had a great job of as an offense coming out and starting off really fast, and we've kind of lacked a little bit of that finish. But I feel like yesterday the defense did a great job, giving us some pushback at the beginning and us having to finish and work hard to get back some momentum back to us at the end.
Larry, you mentioned being a walk-on at Jacksonville State. Did you earn a scholarship there before you left, or?
Yes, sir, I did.
And then what was it like? I mean, entering the transfer portal. I mean, you ended up at Arkansas. I assume there were other schools recruiting you. You missed out on that process coming out of high school. What was that process like?
It kind of was just like a full circle moment because I didn't really get to receive it coming out of high school. So it was kind of like felt new and like a rookie almost, like being in like a full circle moment. So it kind of felt good.
Larry said you had an injury in high school. You mind if I ask you what it was?
It was a little knee injury.
What, do you remember which one it was?
No, sir.
That's okay. Well, that means it does not bothering you.
No, it's not bothering me at all.
And if you don't mind me asking, who all recruited you out of the portal, and who else did you consider, and why Arkansas?
There's some SEC schools, a lot of schools from different conferences, but Arkansas just felt really good. Felt like home. Coach T. Will and Coach Pitt. It felt like a great fit.
I know, Jacksonville State, that's a good, program at that level, but how different is it playing at a program like that and an SEC program? Like what sort of things do you have here that maybe you didn't have there that are pretty nice?
I would say some things, just everything is just a lot bigger and like not even football wise, but just facilities and resources. You get like a lot more resources that are greater.
Hey, Addison, you mentioned earlier that, Coach Mateos has the opportunity to go down as one of the great offensive line coaches. Just what makes him unique and, special to work with?
To me, it's just his approach to coaching us. He looks at it. He wants us to be as prepared and as knowledgeable for, the NFL as possible. He wants us to not just know what we do, what the basic offensive line knowledge is. He wants us to know everything. He wants us to know formations. He wants us to know like motions. He wants us to know, what are the what's outside of the box? Are they doing like corner blitzes, safety shifts, everything. He wants us to be able to know ball, and it allows us to, play more freely. We're not just focused on, basic minor information, relying on other people to tell us what to do. We can make checks on our own. We can see things that are happening, and allows us to, he calls it like playing ball. We're not just doing what we're supposed to do. You're just playing ball. If you see something and let's say you're supposed to go to this guy, but you see something and you feel something coming, and then you're like, all right, no, let's go this way. Let's check it to this. And it just allows you to play more free. And I feel like him being able to make things easier to understand for us and not such an overbearing, knowledge dump is really what separates him. It's just easy to learn from him.
And then Coach Pittman has also been with y'all quite a bit out there when we've been watching you guys. Just what's it like having a head coach that's so knowledgeable on the offensive line?
It's great. Like I said, having both of them together is a true powerhouse in offensive line knowledge. Being able to work with Coach Pitt on the field is something that I'd always wanted to do. I wanted to go to play with him at Georgia. He recruited me out of high school, and I wanted to go play for him at Georgia. And then obviously he got the head job here, and that ended up not working out. But now we're here, and I get to work with him and Coach Mateos, and getting both of their knowledge. They both have, different ways they teach offensive line, and being able to learn both sides of their knowledge. Coach Pitt's just wisdom and techniques that he's gathered from over the years, and then Coach Mateos with his brain and his knowledge. It's something you couldn't ask for any better, honestly.
Addison, you mentioned the culture of this offensive line. Just how much of that has come from Fernando Carmona, and what does he add to the room?
He adds so much to the room. He's just one of those guys that you can't not like him. I don't think there's anyone on the team that could say a bad thing about him. He gets along with everyone. He's everyone's friend. He wants everyone to be as successful as they can. And yeah, he's been a huge part of our culture in the O-line room. But honestly, outside of that, he's been a huge part of the culture and the team as well. I feel like he just does a great job of, bringing energy to every practice, every day. And he's a fantastic leader, and he's really embodied, that role.
Addison, going back to the Coach Pittman, Coach Mateos relationship, I think Mateos said the other day that he sometimes is a little bit more complex in the way he teaches things, and Coach Pittman has a way of simplifying things. Is that how it works? I mean, is there like you almost have to go through like a translator to see what Coach Mateos is saying, or how does that dynamic work?
I would say he does it. Sometimes it'll come off very confusing, and he'll catch himself and he'll reword it, or he'll teach us something, and we might not get it right away, and then a few days in, he'll come back and reteach it to us a different way to where it clicks our brain better. And his whole thing is this was what was great for me, because a lot of offensive line coaches, they have this is what they coach. This is how it's done, and this is what you have to do. He understands that everyone's different, everyone learns different, everyone plays different, everyone's body's different. So they're the things that he expects us to do every play, but he also has allows us to have the freedom to do things that work for us, which I feel like a lot of people don't really do. And that in itself really simplifies a lot of things for us, because we're not having to go outside of our mental and physical limits to do things that don't work for us. It allows us to be comfortable in something that we're good at doing, and it allows us to play to our strengths. So I wouldn't say that there's really a translating situation there. They both just really play off of each other. The Coach Pittman will say something, and then Coach Mateos will say something off of it, or vice versa. It's just a really great situation, and it allows us to be extremely, extremely knowledgeable in everything.
You mentioned you were going to go to Georgia, and I think Josh Braun's same deal. He was going to go to Georgia, then Sam came here, and then you guys both leave SEC school, circle back to play for Sam. I guess what do you think about that? Do you and Josh ever talk about that? Just what do you think that says about Sam?
We haven't talked about that. It definitely would be a great conversation. It's funny though, because Josh was my host when I went to Florida, so that's always a fun story that I like to tell people, because we make fun of him because he's really old. But yeah, it's one of those things where when you talk with him, even for the first time, you remember him. You remember who he is. He has a presence to himself, and you just know how great of a person he is. Even outside of football, he's someone that you want to be around. I feel like a lot of coaches, you kind of gotta get uptight, and you're like, all right, coaches nearby, I gotta be all tight and stiff. It's just not like that with Coach Pitt. He's someone that you really truly want to be around. He's someone that you can go and sit in his office. I've gone in his office and talked with him about nothing related to football for an hour, 2 hours. And it's just one of those guys where his presence is just fun to be around. And you know that when you're going into the portal, you know how incredibly intelligent he is with football. And you also know that he's a coach that you want to play for. And it's someone that, you'll rally behind and go to war for, and you respect him and love him and want to be with him. So it's definitely one of those coaches where you just see him and you're like, yeah, like I can play for that guy.
Ask who was your host for the recruiting trip here?
I didn't have a host. I came. It was weird. It was like everyone had gone home, and there was like no one here. So my host was. It really was like Coach Mateos. He was like my host. Like he drove me around, and like it was unique.
And then Eric and the other guy lineman were in here the other day talking about the DAPS. What's your take on the DAPS that you guys do?
I think it's fun. It sounds kind of corny, but it really is. It is fun. You at the start, you're thinking about it, you're like trying to get the DAPS, and then over time it becomes, second nature, and you're doing it automatically. And it's just one of those things that brings up the guys around you. Even when you're not trying to, you'd have someone be like, hey, good job. Hey, you did good here. And outside of that, it takes your mind off of how tired you are. And instead of standing there and in your head, you're like, oh my God, I'm so tired. You're thinking, all right, let's tap this guy up. Let's tap this guy up. And it allows you to keep your mind clear of negative thoughts.
What was your first impression of Braun when you met him for that and had that visit? And then when you saw him here, what was that interaction like? Like, oh, hey, what was that?
I love that guy. We call him like the dad of the O-line. He's like that father figure. He does like all this stuff for us, and if we ever have questions, he's nerdy and knows everything. But that was my first impression because he was honestly one of my favorite official visits because it was so different. We went to a coffee shop and played chess. That was what we did. And I thought that was just the coolest thing because it was different. And he knows what he likes. And he knows, if you don't like this, then oh well, I'm me. And I respect that a lot about Braun. And coming here, he loved it because now he can say that he's like 100% on guys he's hosted. Everyone that he's hosted has gone to where he's gone. And he considers, since he's here, that makes it 100% because I came here and I didn't go to Florida, but whatever, we'll give it to him and say that it's 100%. But
Were you surprised when you walked in and said, "Oh, hey, I remember you," or did you already know he was here? How did that work out?
I didn't really think about it. I didn't know. I honestly still thought he was at Florida. I hadn't really heard much about him. And then I got here and I was like, wow, that dude seems really familiar. And they were like, yeah, it's Josh Braun. I was like, oh my God, that was my host in Florida. And it just took a second to click. But yeah, it was really cool to be able to get to see him again.
Great job.